It's Thursday, November 27th, 2025. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and a very happy Thanksgiving to you. All right, we're tracking some big fronts and some pockets of flooding, and I want to cover a lot of areas in this video because I don't want to leave anyone out. Watching the rain building near parts of Central America, we'll see some of it building as well in the southeastern Caribbean. I want to cover that. One big front stretching here from Canada all the way through the east coast of the U.S., all the way down through Mexico in a bigger system, including some snow. We'll track that. I want to show you a larger system to the north next week, how far south that may eventually get, and what it means as well for friends to the north. So watching this, seeing this rain building here, and as I mentioned the last few days, the chance of this developing into a tropical system is super low. I'm just not seeing that, but I am seeing that rain that's going to build. So this is exactly what we talked about, especially closer to the Caribbean. So Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, it's not all spots. It's a little bit closer to the Caribbean where it's going to build in. But as this rain builds in through here, none of the models are showing this area developing into a tropical storm. Sometimes you get a little rogue system, kind of a late season system. I'm just not seeing that. So let's start here and then we'll expand out. Now, for today, spotty showers, Eastern Caribbean. Here's some of that rain that I'm tracking here. Here's the front. The first one to the north. Now, as this starts to dive down, it will increase the chance of rain for some of us. A slight chance in Florida, back through the Bahamas, Cuba, back toward Belize. That's where it's going to build, and building here further. So here's the front, kind of near the Cayman Islands, just to the north of Jamaica, but the rain's going to be building in through here, tail end of the front here, and the rain building here. But again, no development. So if you're hearing any chatter about that, not seeing any signs of development. But then you see the rain building, Trinidad and Tobago, northeastern Venezuela, Guyana, as we work our way into Saturday, rain building, Colombia back toward the west. And here's some of that rain back through parts of the Bahamas. No washout, but scattered areas of rain, watching that. Then Sunday into Monday, watching some pockets of rain, especially southern sections, the southern Caribbean, a little bit more. Spotty showers, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, hit or miss. Jamaica back through Cuba. And then into next week, we'll keep an eye on some of the other fronts that are building to the north, which I'll show you in just a second. But you see this persistent area of rain. We'll be watching that in some additional, at least scattered showers over toward, say, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, parts of Venezuela. So we're going to monitor that flood threat in some spots through the weekend into next week. Now, here's the first front. So here we are in the Caribbean, back through the U.S., back through Canada. The cold air has surged in back behind it. Some lake effect snow, seeing some snow on Ontario, Quebec, back through the Great Lakes. Now, as we work our way out in time, I want to show you what happens. The cold air in place on Friday, tomorrow. But then watch this. Watch what happens here. Here's one system that starts to build, and this is going to be a larger system. It's going to tap into a lot of energy from the south and draw in some moisture. We've got a couple systems on the way. So here's one that's going to sweep through the east coast of the U.S. right there with some snow on the backside of it, some rain elsewhere, but then behind it, a bigger system is going to develop as we track these fronts. Look at Texas, Louisiana, Mexico. The rain kind of surges into this next system. This one potentially even bigger by next week. And we'll watch how far south it gets. Snow on the north side of it. Look at that mix even over toward Arkansas. A mix of some rain and snow or some sleet in there. And then look how this just works its way up toward parts of New England, the mid-Atlantic of the U.S., monitoring that rain-snow line. Snow on the north side of this. You see it right in there. Some of that rain on the south side. This is a bigger system, and it's all tied together. That moisture coming across Mexico, the Gulf, lifting up toward the north. And you see by Wednesday, this moves in toward the Atlantic region of Canada. Backside of it, seeing some snow. And then these fronts continue to press through Bermuda. So we'll see how far south some of these fronts get as we work our way, especially into December. Now, with that said, with that first front today, everything's a bit choppier. So watching that, the seas building further over the next couple days. The chop in the Caribbean, but look at the Bay of Campeche. Some of those waters upwards of about 2 to 3 meters. Meters here, feet on the right-hand side of your screen. So the Atlantic waters are going to be bumpier as well as we work our way into Saturday. And then we'll be watching multiple systems, those two that are going to be working their way through the U.S. and the Atlantic region of Canada. Now, as far as the rain goes, this first front, not a whole lot of rain back through Florida, just kind of brief as that front passes by. A little bit more northern and central Bahamas, where we'll get some spots over 25 millimeters of rain or an inch of rain. Hit or miss Cuba, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. If we get a shower, it could be a brief downpour. So there'll be a few downpours, just not overall widespread. Same thing. Anguilla, Statia, Montserrat, just picking some spots. Antigua, Barbuda, a little bit more Guadalupe south, where we'll have some hit or miss showers, some spots, 10, maybe 25 millimeters of rain. This pocket here we'll be watching closely for some additional rain, especially into the weekend and next week. This sector here, you see northern Suriname, northern Guyana, northeastern Venezuela, and Trinidad for some additional rain. Some spots will be over 50 millimeters of some rain. And then here we go, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Some spots completely dry, but others dealing with some of that heavier rain, especially on the Caribbean side, where we'll have some totals over 100 millimeters of rain or over 4 inches of rain. Same thing as we get over toward the Bay Islands, northern Honduras, and then swinging back toward Belize, even parts of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Some of that rain, and with the tail end of the front, you see some of the rain there. I mentioned the Bay of Campeche, Mexico City, not a lot, but off toward the east, higher rain totals. And then watching this moisture in through here building as we get through parts of the U.S. Of course, some of these rain totals are actually some of that snow mixed in. There'll be, here's that one system moving by, here's that second one, but that third one is really going to tap into the moisture. That'll be a bigger system for the northeast U.S., the mid-Atlantic, and parts of the Atlantic region of Canada. So Jamaica, we're looking at a 30 to 40% chance of a shower. Some of us just staying on the dry side, while others get a few of those brief downpours. 30% chance today in the Cayman Islands and a 40% chance tomorrow. It does build a little bit into the weekend. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a 40% chance the next couple of days, but into the weekend, the rain chance is going to bounce up to about 50%. So we're going to keep an eye on more of an active December headed our way. 30% chance the next couple of days in Barbados, 30% chance leading into the weekend in St. Lucia. So some passing showers will be possible. A little bit higher tomorrow in Grenada, rain chance at about 40%, and a 40% chance for today. St. Vincent the Grenadines, a 30% chance by tomorrow. Isolated passing shower as we work our way from Martinique back through Dominica. The next 3 days, rain chance holding at 30%, a 30 to 40% chance as we work our way into Guadalupe. Antigua, Barbuda, very isolated, 30% chance the next 2 days. The next 3 days, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, passing shower, 30% chance holding into the weekend, 30% chance today in Anguilla and St. Bart's, up to a 40% chance for tomorrow, and a 30% chance into the weekend. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. Rain chance a little higher in Puerto Rico tomorrow, up to about a 50% chance with that front really passing by to the north. So it bumps up slightly as well tomorrow. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, we're looking at a 40% chance. And with that front passing by, as I mentioned, especially northern and central Bahamas, looking at about a 40% chance of some scattered showers that will be moving in tomorrow and Saturday. Touch higher as well. Turks and Caicos by Saturday, we're up to about a 40% chance. Rain chance 40 to 50% over the next 3 days in the Dominican Republic. Does build some by Saturday in Haiti. We're going to bounce up to about a 40% chance in Belize, as I mentioned, some scattered areas of rain. We'll watch out for some isolated pockets of flooding in Belize. 40% chance of rain holding Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, even a little bit higher over toward Curacao with that rain chance at 50%. These are some scattered showers, but we've been in more of an active pattern across the ABC Islands. Guyana, we're focusing on the northern sections as well of Suriname for that higher chance of rain. 30% chance over the next couple of days in Cuba, and then you see Costa Rica and Panama. It's really split though. Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, closer to the Caribbean. That's where the rain chance will be higher. More to the west, that's where we're going to be on the drier side. So really that split forecast. Honduras, same thing. Northern and eastern sections, better chance of getting some of the rain. 30% chance the next couple of days. Guatemala and El Salvador. Mexico City, a 30% chance today. 20% chance for tomorrow, and that is it. Yucatan Peninsula, closer to Belize, that's where that rain chance is going to be a bit higher overall, about a 40% chance 40% chance today in northern Colombia and building as well as we work our way into the weekend and next week as we work our way back toward Venezuela. Now, Bermuda at times will have those dry days. You get a couple dry days, then we get a front passing by. That's what we'll be seeing for tomorrow, and that'll be the pattern through the weekend into next week. So rain across the southern, I need an N right there, the southern Caribbean. Watching that, Trinidad and Tobago building back toward parts of Central America. So watching some areas of flooding. Multiple fronts in the U.S. those building. We'll be tracking some rain, snow across parts of Canada and the U.S. and how far south some of these fronts get. So I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being part of this weather community and have a good Thanksgiving.